Charlie wrote a great article about Trevor Zegras and this wing center hybrid thing he's doing right now, and we're going to talk about that. But first, like, we were all curious how Rick Tocchet and Zegras would get along. Now, Tocchet is not the taskmaster that Tortorella
Sure.
or Greg Cronin, but he wants big physical dudes, as does pretty much every coach in the league.
He has old school tendencies, to be sure.
As does, again, every coach in the league. If given the choice, wants a big physical guy over a small skilled guy. Now, they want the big physical guys to be good, for the most part.
Want the big physical guys to also be skilled guys.
Yeah, but like, Zegras is not most coaches' dream #1 center or whatever. I think Zegras has done a pretty tremendous job of endearing himself to the coach with some of his play thus far. I looked it up. He's only been on the ice for 1 goal against this year, and it was the goal I'm calling the double doe from the Winnipeg game, where Brink has a chance to clear it, and it just bounces away from him, and then they work it back around, and it hits 2 things before it just sits in the crease for what was it, Morgan Barron, to just kind of poke in. Like,
hey, I don't even think it did. I think it bounced off Yinning,
and then
Yinning and Cates. I thought it just sat in the crease and Barron.
No, I think it bounced right in off of Cates, I think.
Even worse.
Correctly. Yeah, like, it was a total luck
That's the only goal he's been on the ice for, and I think he's worked hard. He's not like, okay, I'm doing this wing center hybrid thing. He's not complaining about his role or anything. And I think he's endeared himself to the coach a little bit, because Rick Tocchet had this to say about his relationship with Trevor Zegras.
I mean, I pick his brain. He's a smart kid, but he's what I like about him. He knows there's more. Like he texted me last night. I want to watch some video with you. Like he wants it. Like you can tell. So because he feels there's plays out there that he can make even more, and I agree with him. But it's like I said, you just chip away.
5-game assist streak, 5 points in 6 games, 2 on the power play, 3 at even strength. He's producing, and he's still texting the coach, yo, let's watch some film, and let's figure out what other plays I can be making, what other responsibilities I am shirking or could be doing better at, or whatever it is. He is showing basically that the narrative about him, if it was true, it no longer is, or he's been misrepresented by a coach in an organization that never really wanted him in the first place. He's working hard, and he's coachable, and I don't know what else you can ask for from the guy.
Yeah, you know what immediately popped in my head when I heard this, when Tocchet said this? We were all there on the second day of the draft, and we interviewed Rick Tocchet. And I forget if it was your question or Kelly's question, but one of us asked him, it seems like you have really good relationships with star players, guys like Sidney Crosby, and Hughes, and Phil Kessel. They swear by you. What distinguishes a star player? How do you handle the star players well? And he said, one thing is you always got to be ready to respond to their texts. That Sidney Crosby, I'll be eating dinner, I'll be eating a steak, and I'll get a text from Sidney Crosby who's watching a game on television. He's like, did you see that play that San Jose did? And he's like, and I got to watch it and be ready the next morning to be able to talk intelligently with Sidney Crosby about that play. And when he was talking about Zegras, look, Trevor Zegras isn't Sidney Crosby, but Trevor Zegras is doing the thing that Rick Tocchet straight up told us, separate the good players from the great players. And that's a really encouraging thought.
It absolutely is. And that's where we get to the wing center discussion. And if you want to read all about what this team is doing, you got to check it out at allphly.com. And right now is the time to do it. Become a diehard, 55% off for our boy BG.
Yeah.
BG is back, and because of it, you can get a diehard membership 55% off. Check it out at allphly.com. But this wing center hybrid thing, Tocchet addressed it, and he said, he's doing this hybrid thing. And the first quote, and he follows it up with something good, but the first quote from Zegras, I'm not sure. I don't really know what that means. Oh, I love this guy. He's such a hockey player.
Same.
Just such a hockey player. Like, I don't know, man. I play hockey, not school.
Yeah.
But then follows it up like, you can find yourself down low in situations if you're the first guy back. But I'm not really sure what he means, because Christian Dvorak usually takes the faceoffs, but I can play center too when I'm the first guy back. I can switch with him and all that stuff. So Charlie dug into it. Charlie really took a look at what this hybrid idea is, because first game of the year, Zegras is playing center. And then they have him with Dvorak, and it's, all right, is he the center? Is he the wing? Dvorak's taking all the face-offs. Are they alternating responsibilities? And right away it was no. Dvorak is playing center and Zegras is playing wing.
Yeah.
And since then, Charlie, it feels like that's not the case. It actually is a hybrid.
It is a hybrid. And look, there's a natural hybrid situation in the defensive zone for anybody. You know, there are times when I was going back through tape, there were times when Owen Tippett was functionally playing center in the D zone because he happened to be the low man and it didn't make sense at the time for them to switch. And it's
He's
just
real
like,
fast.
well, he's there, so I guess that's his role because that's just the way the play went. But it does seem like more than usual, Zegras is playing the center position. And what it seems like is really going on here at its core is it's less, because as you mentioned, when I asked Zegras about it, Zegras was like, well, I don't really know what he meant about that. It seems like this is less about what Tocchet is telling Zegras and more about what Tocchet is telling Dvorak. And he is telling Dvorak, look, there are going to be times where Zegras is going to end up down low. And normally, as the center, Dvorak might be like, oh, let's do a switch so I can get back to my spot.
When we have a chance to rotate, like, yeah, man, you're first one back.
Yeah.
You're down there.
For like 5 seconds.
When the puck's on the far side, I'm coming back down. You get up to that wing.
Exactly. And basically, Tocchet told Dvorak, in those situations, just let Trevor be center. Let him be center. Let him do his thing. Take the wing spot. And then maybe eventually, 30 seconds down the road, you might switch back. But let him play center more than you normally would for Owen Tippett. Whereas if Tippett's down low, look, Tippett can handle it for a little bit. But Dvorak's going to want to take that role as quickly as possible. It seems like Tocchet's made it clear to Dvorak that, look, like, there are going to be times that Zegras is going to be the center. Just let him do it. Let him be center because we want him to get the reps. We want him to at least be getting some experience in that center role in this system. So the way it ends up shaping out about on average, at least in the 2 games where they were really doing this hybrid thing, probably about 33% of the time, Zegras is playing the center role, which certainly isn't 100. It's not all the time, but he is getting some reps at center in the here and now, even though he is nominally the wing.
I hate this.
Okay.
Here's the thing. We went into this season saying, we got to see if Trevor Zegras can be a center in this league. We got to see. We got to know. We got to make sure he can do it because a lot hangs on him being a good center in the NHL. We had 1 game. And then they were like, you know what? Nah. Too fast. It just seems like too, like, why are we giving up on it already, fam? Like, why can't we just let him be the center? If you want Dvorak on his wing and he takes faceoffs, okay, whatever. If it's an important faceoff, let Dvorak take it. That's fine. There's not something in the rule book that says the center has to take the faceoffs, right? Like, can anybody take
anybody
the
can.
faceoffs?
Drew took a ton of faceoffs when he was on the line with
Exactly.
Victoria.
So I just don't understand why. And this goes back, my overarching thing where we decided that winning the games is more important than developing the talent. Tocchet has decided that Trevor Zegras right now, maybe not an NHL center. All right, cool, but we got to make him one, dude. So, like, you got to let him do it. And 33% of the time, not enough, I think, to get him there. And it's...
Yeah, and it's fair.
That's in your article. Like, is this ideal? Probably not.
Probably not. No, like, if you're going to teach someone to excel at center, because it's not like he needs to be taught how to play center. He played center his first couple years in Anaheim.
Yeah.
Played center his entire career. Like, he knows how to do it. The thing is that they don't think he does it well enough. So the idea is like, okay, well, we got to teach him to be good at it. We got to teach him how to be better at faceoffs. We got to teach him how to be a more effective player down low in puck battles, serving as that support outlet for breakouts. 33% of the time is better than 0, but it's not 100% of the time, which I think is what probably the majority of the fans want. What this really boils down to, and Kelly, you hit the nail on the head, Tocchet thinks that playing Zegras at center almost exclusively makes it less likely the Flyers are going to win games. And he wants the Flyers to win games, so he has identified that, yeah, Zegras is going to play the wing. And I guess this is just the push-pull of fans look at this team and they say, okay, this team probably best case scenario.
We're going to overtime, by the way.
Going to overtime.
Go to allphly.com to keep watching.
But that best case scenario, the Flyers have a ceiling of like they make the playoffs and they lose in round 1. So for fans, their primary focus here is how do we get the team to the point where they are contending for cups? And they look at it as, well, probably the best way to increase our odds that way would be to develop Trevor Zegras as a center. He sticks at center and then becomes an 80-point-a-year 1C, 2C, top 6 center. That's what fans are thinking of, and I totally get that. Fans should be thinking that because they want their team to win a championship. Rick Tocchet is looking at it as, I'm a head coach. My job is to win games, not only because that's what I'm primarily being paid to do, but also because if I don't win games, there's a good chance I won't be the head coach
I mean,
forever.
fair.
So it's competing incentives.
But like, what is Danny Briere thinking of this? Like, you didn't bring Trevor Zegras in here to just like be a good wing and then maybe sometimes take a face off. Like, that's not what we got him for.
I am going to choose to believe for now that this is, if not an organizational decision, because the lineup is the coach's purview.
Yes.
Rick Tocchet has at least laid out a plan. Like, the best way to make him a center and have it stick and work is to do it this way and gradually build upon the responsibility. Now, you know what camp I'm in. I said, we have him under contract for this year. Let us give him 82 games at center and see how the hell it goes.
See how it goes.
They appear to be doing something different, and it's not how I would like to see it done, but I am going, because things are going fairly well right now, I am going to lay out this scenario for you, Kelly.
Okay.
Would you rather he is at center, his wings are Dvorak and whoever the hell else they decide can help make up for his defensive deficiencies, because their center isn't very good defensively, at least in their mind, or he's hybrid wing center, Dvorak and Mish? Both not an option.
Why not?
Because this is my scenario, and I know what you would choose if it was. Ice cream and pizza?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. Obviously.
Yes.
Give me all the fun things at the same time.
I think if this is how I'm going to get him with Mish, I can live with it.
If the hybrid was, 67% Zegras center and 33% Dvorak center, I'd be more on board because we'd be having more of the development thing happening than we're getting right now. If he's going to be playing center like this little amount of time, yeah, give me Michkov and let's have fun. But like, right, I mean, I understand that Rick Tocchet's job is to win games, but like organizationally, they have to be thinking what we're thinking. We want this to be a contender. We don't want to trip our way into the first round and then lose to Carolina in 4. Like, what's the point of that?
It is very much like what they've said out loud. Yeah.
Right, here's the thing. Like, would making the playoffs this year be fun? Yeah, it would be fun. And they can probably do it if a lot of things go right. But that's like the bonus fun.
Sure.
The real fun is these players getting better.
Yeah. And I think, going back to what you said, Bill, about I have to believe that there's a plan that Tocchet has laid out a like developmental plan to make Trevor Zegras center. I don't know if that's true.
Cool.
All right.
But here's why I don't know if that's true.
Yeah.
I think that you're taking the wrong framing here. What I think is going on, and I think this speaks to Kelly, what you're saying about like, well, the organization has to step in. I think this is kind of that, where if Rick Tocchet had his way, Trevor Zegras would be on the wing and not getting a single rep at center.
Third line left wing.
And it would just be like, yeah, he's a point scorer who's going to be on the wing and he's a winger and I don't want to be bothered with this center crap. I think the reason why he's getting 33% of the reps is because Danny Briere is like, all right, I get it. You don't want this guy at center, but you got to do it sometimes because the organizational plan is to have him at center. That's the hope. I think this is less Tocchet having this big plan to develop him at center and more that this is a compromise. Yeah. This is a compromise.
It's like, he gave you these quotes so you could do this story so that Danny Briere could read it and be like, all right, he's playing him a center.
Yeah. I'm sure they're actually
yes,
talking.
Yes.
I don't think this is like Tocchet trying to pull the wool over the eyes of Danny, but I bet it's more Tocchet compromising a bit rather than Tocchet being like, oh, I have this Machiavellian plan to turn him into a center, and this is just part one of 7.
We're 6 games in. If the coach is trying to fool the GM, we're in trouble.
That's very true.
I just don't. I mean, we're only 6 games in, so whatever. I don't think Rick Tocchet has any interest in developing anybody. I think he just wants to win hockey games.
I think it's more nuanced than that. I think Tocchet's belief is probably that us winning games will help develop guys. That
You did say that yesterday.
by putting the focus on winning, that guys are going to naturally develop better because we're trying to win games. So I think that would be how Tocchet would probably respond to that.